Hey guys, Brando Drum VR here to talk about the full kit as it sits right now. So the full kit recently at least has been the most popular kit, if you will, from my store. And it's due for an update for assembly instructions. So what you see here is everything that you get with the full kit. Basically, in a nutshell, the full kit is all the parts to make either the regular classic size or the XL size with the forearm brace or one of the front end attachments, at least currently. And I'm always updating and making changes, but that's what it is right now. And this right here, what you're looking at, is actually a Quest 2 version. The only thing you don't see on screen that you actually also get is a Velcro strap, but you know, that's pretty straightforward to install. So when you unpack it, here's how things are kind of bundled. You have the grip, the Velcro strap, and all the spare parts in one bag. You have the main classic stock with forearm brace in another bag. You have all of the parts to make it an XL kit in one bag. And then finally, you have the front end grip and the pistol paddle. So that's what you unpack. So this is an unboxing video. This is an assembly video. And I want to talk about how you assemble it. So the first step is get your grip out. There should be some gummy bears in there, at least if you're in the United States. And you just can install the main stock portion. So the way you do that is you just find a good angle. I usually do it something like this. If you were to sit it on the ground, it's about like that. You know, the flat part of the grip lines up with the butt at this gear adjustment point, and you can just pop this in and you screw it together. As long as it's snug, it's incredibly tight. You might go ahead and into a game and go ahead and get started and figure out what you need to adjust. Typically, you're going to want to raise this up a bit, angle this, you know, make some changes, make this longer. I don't want to go into all that. Hopefully, that's pretty straightforward. But you're going to make some adjustments from there. And then you might also, hey, maybe you're interested first in the forearm brace. Installation is very simple, and then the adjustments, again, you take these screws out and you get a length adjustment. This is now reversible. So I have another video about upgrades that I've made to the whole line. And this is the regular size forearm brace, is the XL over here. The noodle's a little bit bigger. On this, it's a lot bit bigger on the XL, and it's also reversible. So if you wanted it to, instead of having something to slide your arm around, you wanted it to cup, you can do that. Don't need to demonstrate that here. Just want to talk about installation. So guess what? You have this partial gear right here, and the reason it's partial, I'll explain in a little bit, but it comes down to having the option to make it click and bump out of place instead of break if you wanted to. And it also, you know, makes this nice if you don't use the front end or the forearm brace. This is a nice profile here. But anyway, that's why it's a partial gear, just so you know. But it's a double gear, gear on top, gear on bottom. This right here is a single gear, and it holds the whole entire gun stock. So you only need one gear for the strength. And I'm just answering that question. People ask me all the time, why do you have a partial gear there? It doesn't seem strong enough. Well, trust me, it's got more teeth than this, and that holds the entire gun stock and it's not a problem. So anyway, that's a couple of the reasons why. So anyway, now you have a classic version with the forearm brace. Well, say you wanted to go right for the front end grip. What you would do instead of installing the forearm brace is I would recommend using the pistol paddle. And sorry, I don't have it super neat here, but I would use the pistol paddle, which is also upgraded. It has dual adjustments. And I'd put this on the partial gear right here. And you want to find a good angle with that. And you'll go and play, say, a round of breachers against some bots. And you find out pretty quick where you want things to be. And that's the pistol paddle. You know, breachers is a good game. Anything with pistols, go and check that out. But you also want to install this front end grip. Well, this is the one thing, yeah, you're going to have to unbolt this gear first. This is just for storage, so these screws, and storage is in the shipping process, so these screws don't fall out. But you just pop these in here, and you bolt it on. Pretty straightforward. This thing is a solid chunk of plastic, heavily reinforced. I have not met anybody that has broken this yet, and I've shipped a lot of these. In fact, not many people break the front end grip at all. Honestly, it's usually the forearm brace. Quick discussion on that. I usually recommend, if you have a smaller space, the forearm brace is the way to go. It is a space-saving measure to use the forearm brace to get that full two-arm stability in a compact, always-on unit, and people love it, and it gives you the maneuverability and things of that sort. The front-end grip is more immersive, and I do love it for games like Breachers, certain games where the modeling of the pivot point of the weapons, you don't get as much stability even with the forearm brace, and you want something that's full-fledged, and that's where this comes in. And this is Type 1. You can specify when you're ordering the full kit if you want Type 1 or Type 2 as your front end attachment. By default, I ship Type 1 because I like it the best. This is actually what I play with. I don't play with Type 2. This works super great. It's super simple. A little bit of a, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but I will probably come out with a 2.0 version at some point in the future, but usually when people buy this, if that's what they're looking for, they love it. So anyway, by default, it's Type 1, but just tell me if you want Type 2 in your full kit, and I will ship you the Type 2 version. But anyway, very straightforward, installing it like this on that gear, and then once it's tight, obviously it's going to be quite strong. There's actually one other piece that I don't show here that I'm now trying to start to ship, which is a little spacer. It's just basically, think if I just cut off a chunk of this beam that sits inside of the sleeve. I try to ship one of those with these purchases as well, in case you adjust this all the way out and then this doesn't have anything to clamp onto on the inside. That's all it's for. Is if you're using the SMG grip and you have this really far out, that little black spacer is going to have 3 holes. That's just to go in here, so the sleeve still has something rigid inside to clamp down on. Very simple thing that unfortunately is not shown here, but I'm starting to ship with these as of now. So yeah, that's a basic setup with the front end grip, and then from there you'll go hop into a game and you'll see where you want things to lie. You'll probably sit here with it and say, okay, well, this is how I want to hold it. I need to make this longer. I want to move this back or what have you. I want to adjust this. And so assembly is that easy. And then if you're wanting to use the XL parts, you're just taking the nuts and bolts out of the regular size parts and transferring them over. You get to play Legos. This is a Lego set for VR, essentially. But, a little bit more turnkey. I don't just ship you a bunch of parts. The idea here is you can get into the game extremely quickly because it's kind of pre-configured, a couple nuts and bolts, you put it together, and you can get an experience and decide what you want to adjust from there. And hopefully you enjoy that experience. And I am always open to feedback. If you have an idea or you want a different adjustment or something doesn't align right, please hit me up. And actually, I will also say this, before leaving me a negative review, if it's because something is broken or didn't hold up for some reason, that's usually a problem in shipping. Almost, actually, that's the only reason these parts would ever show up and immediately break. I've sold, actually going on 500 of these now. I wasn't on Etsy before. And I've beefed up these parts. They're really, these things are durable. So if they're broken out of the box, don't leave me a negative review, hit me up. I will ship you free parts. And I'll even do upgrades, if something just doesn't happen because your body's different and I didn't think of it, that's not a problem either. I really enjoy the feedback, engaging with every customer. And, if you're not satisfied, I will also refund you. Because what I really want is everybody to be happy and not regret that they bought a 3D, this is all 3D printed, and, there's, oh, I just bought some 3D printed crap and somebody's going to say something. No, I want a 5-star review. And if you're not happy, you get your money back, dude. So, yeah, I get it. I'm just a guy making stuff, but it's fun as heck to just put a smile on people's face, and that's really what I'm out here doing. All right, so back to the program. Want to talk about this guy. So what's this? It's some spare nuts and bolts, and just a cool way to hold things together. You really get 4 of these little dual adjustment pieces for the forearm brace. And I don't know if people are really breaking them at all, but they're kind of like the main part that takes all the stress if you were to slam up against the wall. So it's cheap and easy enough for me to make a whole bunch of extras, so you never end up not being able to play. I have a lot of international customers. I just want you guys to be able to enjoy the product, even if you slam up against the wall once or twice and you kind of learn your space. But this piece, it serves a dual purpose. So what is this? I covered in other videos. So I call this the main hub. It's the thing that bolts to your grip and holds everything together. You get a black one. That's what I hook up by default. And you get a colored one. Well, what does the colored one do? It allows you to do this. The gears are rounded off for the forearm brace / pistol paddle connection point. So you can't tell, and you can't tell here, but until I take this apart. But these, see how these are really deep, and then these are a little bit more rounded and shallow, and it's, again, 3D printing, but it works. This is a slip joint. So if you play in a smaller space and you hit the wall often, I highly recommend you install your colored gear as the main hub. So swap these things out and put your forearm brace. Again, forearm brace is really great space saving capability. It's also really lightning fast. Lots of advantages to the forearm brace versus something else. But then you have something that'll click out of the way. So if you smash the wall, it's going to move out of the way and not break your brand new gun stock. And you can also adjust it live, but that just depends on how much you want to do that. It will wear a bit over time. They don't really wear that much. I mean, I played Into the Radius, and I really with the entire game with my slip joint, and I just kept adjusting the entire game. It will eventually start to wear out a little bit on this end, but like I said, I give you 4 of these suckers, and there's actually no difference between black and color. I'm just trying to share the material use between both portions of the print. But there you go. So this is the slip joint, also included with every single purchase, regardless of the combo kit. You get 2 of these hubs, and you can swap them out, and they serve as backup. But nobody breaks these things. I mean, if it's broken, something massive happened in shipping, or maybe there was a defect during printing. But this is another solid chunk of plastic that people don't break that. They break forearm brace sleeves. They used to break these joints, but I've beefed them up tremendously over time. And also these knuckle joints, which I guess this dual knuckle, I don't know what else to call it, on the butt end. They used to break. I think it was a material issue. I've completely changed brands, beefed them up, of course, even more. And I ship everybody with 2, and if they break, I just typically ship new ones for free, because it's something I want to engineer to not ever break, like the rest of the product. But there we go. So this is probably my longest video, but I covered all of the things that I wanted to cover today. But let's recap. Assembly is easy. Here's everything you get with the full kit by default. If you don't tell me you want a different front end grip, I'm shipping this out of, just by default. It's all the pieces to make a regular, classic or XL sized with forearm brace and 1 front end grip attachment, defaulting to type 1 because that's the one I think is better. But you can tell me if you want type 2 in your full kit. And there's some extra pieces explaining what they do and what they're for. And as always, I am open to feedback and thoughts, and I'm constantly honing this thing, and I really appreciate every single one of you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.